What's happening, guys? First podcast for the year. So actually, thank you so much for coming through. It's the first podcast.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's difficult to schedule and it's difficult to get people to come through because obviously it is quite a mission for some people. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Lea, better known as Lady Lea. I've been a DJ for about 26 years. I'm also doing events and I went also into DJ and management and booking agent. Back in the day, I used to have a really cool record store in Sunnyside in Pretoria, and I moved to Hatfield, so people know me from Flipside Records, which is my record store. And then it became Flipside Management, which was the booking agency and the management. So, just mainly DJing all the time, different events, private events, corporates, nightclubs, specifically more underground nightclubs. But COVID came and just like smashed things to the ground, I won't lie. Even my other company, I have an events company where we, set up events for people and corporates, etc. And that's just stood still. Everything's just standing still, so... But we are pushing on.
It is unfortunate that everything you basically do revolves around people and it revolves around,
being together and music and celebrating.
So now obviously to adapt, you've kind of started teaching and training.
So I have taught before in some of my old companies, but I thought now would be a great time for people to learn how to DJ. When everything opens up, then you're ready. And also for myself, just to keep going, keep, encouraging DJs and mentoring them. And, I do it from my home. I've got my studio there. And it's been great, actually, because I haven't been doing like a proper DJ course where there's theory, etc. It's more mentorship where I can take you as a brand. Do you have a logo? Do you have a press pack? What do you need? What kind of music do you want to focus on? Not just beat mixing. So I've been able to get to know so many young, really talented people and just hearing their story and helping them build their brands and learn how to mix properly, read certain crowds. Obviously, we're not in front of a crowd, but I'll give them scenarios and then they have to play the music within that scenario. And it's just so much more than just your average beat matching course. And also, I make them do recordings. I send, if I think it's a good recording and it's worth airtime, I'll send it to Carl Kassim and Das Kapital and Chris Beats and all the big guys on the radios, DJ Fresh. And they'll play it. They trust me and my skills. And when I say this is a good mix from a young student, they'll play it. And it's been so amazing to see how exciting my students get, and you kind of like make a bond with them.
Yeah. Well, you yourself, having these kids, having them, training them and helping them, have you seen hesitation and doubt in their eyes, thinking like, your COVID could be forever? When am I might not be able to perform in front of anyone.
Yeah, actually not. Hey, they just like getting ready for things to come back.
Thankfully, because I think everyone needs to be in that mindset, because especially South Africa, the economy we have, it's difficult for everything to always just be shut down and for people not to be able to go out and have fun. And obviously, like, that's the worst time. When everyone's out drinking, partying, obviously that is the most can be the most contagious time. But also, just because it's a party doesn't mean there's not people that are employed from that. There's no people working at the bar.
The amount of people that are employed in the music industry is so big. You'd never think, like, from the cleaners to the security to everything. And it's completely stopped for everyone. And even restaurants are struggling without alcohol and that sort of thing. But look, it's not going to last forever. I don't think we're going to have big festivals in the next few months or maybe even a year. It will definitely be smaller, more intimate, more private events. And I think obviously once we get the vaccine and we've got this herd immunity going on, then hopefully things will open up so you can have much bigger events. But it's not just the public events, it's also the corporate events. They also are struggling to do things for their employees, Christmas functions, the end of year, it's team building, all of that as
matric dances.
Matric
Imagine
dances.
having a matric dance.
So let's give it a couple more months, maybe a year. But you know what? You can't just let go of your passion because you don't think you're going to play for a big crowd in the next few months. You know, that's what keeps you alive and happy, is playing or singing or whatever it is that you do. You can't just stop it because you can't do it in front of people. So, you know, I was doing, during the hard lockdown, I was doing live streams every single day. I gave myself like a challenge. So as long as it was in stage 5, which was, I think, 34 days or something, I did a live stream every day. And it was called What's Cooking with Lady Lea. And it was during like 5, 6 o'clock when everyone cooks for their family.
Okay.
I mean, at that stage, we couldn't even order food. You had to cook, okay? So I did this live stream every day, and I was amazed at how many people would send me these heartfelt, like long messages, just saying how I'm like keeping them sane, you know? The music and dancing a little bit with their family. And I would get videos of, you know, the parents dancing with their family and their kids and the dogs. And it was so nice, actually. It was very special. But yeah, it's 34 shows in a row every single day without a break.
Were you streaming onto YouTube?
It was actually on all the platforms. Okay. It was Facebook, Instagram, went on YouTube and Twitch. So all those episodes are actually on my Facebook. If you go to Lady Lea on Facebook, the fan page, then go to videos and you'll see all the... Yeah, and I got dressed up every day. So it kind of just kept me going.
Well, you know, everyone can find negatives from lockdown and this whole COVID-19, but there's so many positives. You've adapted, you've changed, you've, you know, gone into new endeavors. And actually one of those is these sources. Yes. That are over here. And do you want to explain, you know, why you've come up with these sources, and that also could segue into your health journey?
So I've always been into health and fitness and training and that. I don't always win at it, but I keep pushing. And I have an amazing coach, Hayley T-Rex and Isjan. They're both my coaches from Rise. And they obviously didn't want me to have sugar, and I don't eat sugar generally. And you learn from them, and then you realize, you know, even sea salt and these kinds of things retain water. And I'm like a flavor craver. When I eat whatever, chicken breast or egg whites, like I need something on it. So I would say to them, oh, but can I like chop up chili on it? Okay, yes, you can chop up chili. Can I put basil on it? Okay, yes, you can have basil. So then I really wanted to come up with awesome sauce. It's actually called Awesome Sauce because it is awesome sauce. And we've got 5 flavors, and it's all natural, no sugar, low carbs, no preservatives. It's just pure, like chilies. The one's got chili basil, the other one's pineapple chili. Then you've got the bird's eye, which is a red one, which is kind of just like pure chili. And we've got jalapeno, and then the tomato sauce isn't chili, it's just normal tomato sauce. This is a little sample. And yeah, it just makes my meals so much more delicious. So because we've made it from all the allowed ingredients and everything's organic and no preservatives, it's good to have when you are training, when you're trying to lose weight, when you're trying to bulk up. It's all good. Also for people that are like vegan, diabetic, everything. So they taste insane. So I brought you a couple.
I might as well try this bird's eye chili. It's not going to make me get really hot, is it?
It is. I think that's the tomato sauce. Yes, that's bird's eye.
Bird's eye chili.
It is quite hot.
It's quite hot, but it's nice.
It's very nice.
It is nice. Because that's also something I would... Like the closest thing you can get to being able to have a sauce like Tabasco or something.
Yeah.
And then I end up using the whole tub in it because, you know, and then like this, that's what's nice about chilies was you don't need too much.
You can actually see, if you look like in the bottle, you see like bits of chili and whatever it is. If it's jalapenos, you'll see the little jalapeno seeds or the basil or whatever. So we eat this a lot in my house.
Don't worry, I think in a week these are probably going to be finished.
I'm telling you. And like the pineapple one is really cool for, pancakes and stuff.
Okay.
So I sell this now on a website called amazingessentials.co.za, which was another little lockdown business that I started, amazingessentials.co.za. Obviously, in lockdown, the only thing that was allowed was essentials. So I thought, okay, I'm going to start selling essentials, but amazing ones.
Clever.
And also to encourage my journey with health and fitness. So everything's like no sugar, high protein. I've got another brand called Good Goo, which is like cordials and sweet sauces that they made in Cape Town. Stunning. I've got that whole range. And then we work with Youthful Living. And then I've got beautiful things for ladies like yoga leggings and tights and gym wear and that sort of thing. And, the list goes on. So I really try and source hard-to-get products that you won't necessarily find in like Pick and Pay or Spar, etc., that you'd actually have to go look for. So the idea is to have everything in one place. You can order your sweet sauces, your hot sauces, and your protein and your leggings and everything from one place. And, it's all stuff that I love. So it would definitely be great. Like, these sauces are great for families, but ladies would come onto my site and be like, oh, I need those leggings.
Yes.
I've also got really cool sunglasses, amazing funky shapes. So it's like kind of stuff that I endorse. I resell.
Okay.
Yeah. I use it every day.
And interesting enough, most of it is health related. It's not actually
like
DJ,
all of it.
DJ equipment, or is
no, I sell DJ stuff more through Flipside management.
Okay.
So if you are a DJ or one of my mentors, and you want to buy a controller or whatever, then I would do it through Flipside. So it is two different things. But I've got like really cool music buffs with turntables on them and like music, all of the buffs that I do sell on Amazing Essentials. And just unique things, But definitely in the music industry, I can still hook you up.
Yeah, okay. So going back to music, is it, obviously, we were actually speaking before and you said you were actually very young and
yes,
you were just so passionate about it. You used to just watch people and learn.
Yeah, so back in the day when I was about between 12 and 15, I used to sneak out of hostel and go down Loop and Long Street in Cape Town. That's kind of where it all started. And then I would just go, with my friends into nightclubs and bars. And I was always fascinated by the DJ. And that turned into a bit of an obsession, nightclubs and raves and the DJs. So I was like the biggest groupie at every rave, every party. I would dress up full on rave gear. I would be right in front of the DJ the whole time, just watching, and making DJ sign things. So I was that girl, that young groupie girl. And then my brother started DJing, DJ Morgan, but it wasn't like proper mixing, etc. It was more just putting on a song, play, and as at one end, you push play on another song. And then we sort of developed this love for DJing and playing music to people together. And we finally got one Gemini rack-mounted CDJ. It's quite portable and it's hard to use, but we started with that. Eventually went on to vinyl. So we kind of grew together. And then we opened the record store, Flipside Records, like I said, in Sunnyside, Pretoria. And it was really, really cool. I used to sell records to like Black Coffee and Fresh and all of the guys, 22 years ago. And it was amazing. I won't lie, like the music finding journey of those days was so fun because you'd always go to record stores, sometimes CD stores, but more record stores, and you'd always see all the big DJs there and, listen to the record. And now you just on a computer going through clips of thousands and thousands of tracks. Yeah. So back then it was really a fun experience. But yeah, since then I've done so many albums and tours and stuff. So it's been quite a ride. Yeah. But yeah, I'm teaching kids now that are even younger than I was. I was like 13, 14. And I've got a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old coming soon together, 2 little sisters. So it's quite fun. I also have kids, so I understand what they like growing up to. Okay, my son's turning 9 soon. So, you play music for them and you let them clap and count the beats, etc. It's fun. It's been quite a journey.
What's interesting about music is people can have appreciation for music, but then they go into it in different ways.
Yes.
So like you, obviously you're very passionate about music and, the way beats sound and everything, but you don't, make your own music in terms of like musical instruments.
No.
So obviously did you grow up, was there someone in your life that kind of showed you music? How did you, get into...
Well, my mom was a pianist. Although she didn't really show me much. I did take up piano when I was quite young, but I also stopped, which I regret. And my father was quite an outgoing social guy. He loved music and dancing and celebrating. So I think those two put together makes me...
It's nature and nurture.
Yes.
It's just something that you might have experienced growing up, like, that's cool. Or you went to a club once,
Yeah.
you snuck into a club and you saw, this is...
No,
look at that person, how much fun are they having?
I got obsessed, yeah. All I wanted to do was DJ. So I was DJing through most of my high school career, writing exams on a Monday morning, but I've been DJing all weekend. So it's come a long way, but, my career has done super well over the last 20 years. And like you said, there's different avenues within the music industry. You can be DJing live, you can be making music, you can be teaching people, even doing your own events or for other people. So, it's not just one thing. It never has been just me being a DJ. Also the artist management thing. So as you learn and you experience everything through your career, a lot of people start to trust you and your opinion and your experience, and they sort of come to me and we do cool things.
And obviously now we're talking about your sources and your health journey, and
yes.
You're always wanting to feel better, look better. And have you found as a DJ it's difficult because obviously the late nights, early mornings, you sleep a few hours a day. Has that had an effect on, your weight and everything? And is that kind of, obviously now you've made you more conscious on how much sleep you get, how much, what you eat. Like everyone knows after jaw going to McDonald's, like that kind of stuff. Obviously all of those things just add up, the bad food, the lack of sleep,
drinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how have you, obviously as a DJ, obviously before lockdown and everything, kind of with your health journey, kind of tried to be different than all the other DJs and everything?
Well, I've always been on a health journey, and sometimes I've succeeded and sometimes I haven't. But being a DJ and, like you said, the late nights and no sleep and eating badly and drinking definitely has an effect on any kind of progress. So for the longest time, I've been, pretty much overweight, but I've had moments where I sort of reached a goal for a little while and then you'd go back. And, in my family, we're all prone to sort of being larger. So I have to fight really hard to lose weight and try and reach my goals, that's maybe none of the ladies in my family have ever reached. And with being a DJ and all of that, it's extremely hard. I mean, I've had so many coaches that actually couldn't figure out when and what I should eat, because it was, being at the nightclub till 4 a.m. So now, since dinner till 4 a.m, do I eat or do I not eat? Is it going to be your breakfast? Because I'm only going to wake up at 11. And then do I eat lunch or do I have skip breakfast, or how does it work exactly? And it's not easy to carry prep food in between gigs and like eat raw chicken at 3 a.m. It just is hard.
And you need energy. You don't want to have lack of energy because you're eating minimal food.
And alcohol is also a big thing. It's hard for any DJ, unless you don't drink at all, to get into the vibe and play an insane set, without a tequila or a beer or whatever. So it's just part of the culture, unfortunately. I've learned to try and pace myself, but I don't always manage it. Sometimes I don't drink but it's always there. It's like whereas a normal person would go out, let's say once a week, you've gone out like to 4 different events or 5 different events. And every club owner and every birthday girl or every DJ you haven't seen in long wants to have a drink with you. And sometimes it's actually rude to say like, no, I don't want anything.
You don't want to have to say no.
Yeah, so it's been really hard, but I think we're getting it under control now. You know, not being in nightclubs and stuff, it's all the bad stuff's not always in front of you, and my sleep has improved a lot because even when we are allowed to have events, there's curfew.
Yeah.
And I won't lie, I really like curfew. I really do. I prefer if we do our job during the day into the early evening, and then you get a full night's rest, no matter how hard you partied. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. And how have you, because obviously I've had a lot of, strong, powerful women who've done their own business ventures and own, that are kind of very successful. And I've always been very interested how they have felt as a woman. In obviously nowadays it's better, but in a male-dominant industry.
Yeah.
Was it a male-dominant industry when you started?
Yeah, it was.
I think every industry kind of was up until maybe the 20th century.
It definitely was, but I don't think being a female was a negative thing. People really embraced it. It was like I was different.
Okay.
And a lot of people were like, but that's a girl DJ, and then they'd kind of try and stand there and hear if I fuck up or make a mistake. And I would always enjoy proving them wrong, So making them blow their mind, and I'm a girl. Yeah. So, but to be honest, I always felt like one of the guys. There was never a thing that, oh, I'm a girl, I can't go into the middle of town to that party because it's dangerous. Or if the guys did it, I did it. Okay. And I would probably do it before they did it. I would just do it. Yeah. So I didn't feel scared or belittled or anything because I was female. I think it was a good thing. People really embraced it and noticed it and spoke about it. So, but I'm a tough cookie. I don't let people walk over me. So, if you are a female and you go into a space that is male dominated, you really have to have confidence and you really have to be a strong personality. So they feel like they can't treat you in a certain way that belittles you or, So I was quite loud and just went for it. So no one actually came to my face and said to me, oh, you're a girl, you can't do it. They knew that they would get a mouthful from me. Yeah. So I think if you're female and you want to do things in male-dominated industries, you need to walk in there powerful, and people only treat you the way you let them treat you. So if you're going to have a really big presence or have standards and morals and stuff that people can't cross, you need to let them know, and that's just with the way you come across to people. You don't have to give them a whole lecture, but you just have that presence. So make sure you're confident in yourself and you go in there and you go for what you want. I think a lot of the clubs used to get tired of me hearing them, please, I want to play. Eventually I did. And then at that moment, when you get that break, you really need to prove yourself. You need to wow them. Otherwise, it's she's just a girl, So it's definitely, you need to go in there with that strength. Yeah.
Obviously, anything, and obviously my primary focus obviously is business and health. And, in any aspect of business, you need to put yourself out there to be seen and to be heard. So as yourself, how did you get, awareness for yourself and your own brand? Did you, just email? Did you phone? How did you, get bookings initially?
Well, there wasn't much emailing going on back then. Okay. It was more like faxes and stuff. It's making me sound old, but you're as old as you feel, I guess. So I would go to all the places. If I wanted to play somewhere or meet someone, I would go to that record store, I'd go to that club, and I'd go there all the time. And I would make an effort to meet all the people. Even if I was like a little annoying at first, they would always see my face, and eventually they're going to greet you. So there wasn't Facebook or social media or anything when I started. The way you got known was being on flyers, and the flyers being distributed to all the music places or clothing places, etc. So I just pushed and pushed to be on flyers as much as I could, you know. Eventually I wanted to be on like every flyer, every party, and go to every record store and go to every club. And I did that. So, and then eventually, as I started growing a following, I mean, back then you didn't know who or what was your following, because it was all by word of mouth and paper. Yeah. You didn't have like a number like on social media. Then, you know, as soon as the club owners saw, okay, people were actually coming for my slot, they would book me more. And then eventually I got an album from one of the clubs. They were doing an album series, and I got a mix. And then it just sort of snowballed. I started getting more and more album releases, like compilations with different companies, record labels. And with that always came like a national tour. So the tour would have big posters and flyers, go to all the clubs, and you kind of like just spread that way, you know. And then when social media started, I sort of jumped on that very quickly, and my following has been growing since then. You know, it's been quite a few years. So, but it's cool to see how it changes though, because like now it's Instagram, and the older generation is more sort of on Facebook, the newer on Instagram, and now it's TikTok, and oh my gosh, it's never ending, and it's always going to change. You know, it doesn't just stay in one place. So as a DJ, if you want to have a really long career, you need to sort of change with the way times, everything changes, you know, musically, equipment, promotion, etc. So it's like a full-time job, you know. And that's the thing, is back in the day it was only the music you had and the music you played. Now it's like your profile, your logo, your following, your social media presence, everything. It's insane.
And you yourself, you've never wanted to go into radio, or have you?
I have once or twice. I was featured on radio quite a lot, but I never had my own show. It sort of, I dabbled with it a couple of times, but nothing really came up. Myself and Zintle, actually. I'm not sure if you know Zintle, but she's now Africa's best female DJ. She has like 3.5 million followers, and she's amazing. She's got a couple of businesses, and she's also a style icon. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, we decided to try and get a radio show together. It was really cool. We did a couple of demos and sent it out, but, you know, the timing needs to also be right. You know, either there's DJs leaving and you get a slot, or
who
you know, and how, you know, she didn't have 3 million followers back then, and I didn't have as many as I have now. But, you know, I would still look at it. I would. I think it's really cool. You know, you get to speak to people and play music. But my issue was always the fact that I couldn't play music I wanted to play, because you have to play the playlist. So, and I've always been very like possessive over my brand and my sound. So now, if I've got a radio show and I need to play something that's completely out of my style,
play Miley Cyrus, it might, or something you don't want to play.
It's going to confuse people. But look, there is a difference. You can look at like Roger Good. He is a great DJ, and he plays live, and he always has had his sound. But you know, he's got his show, and he needs to play what he needs to play.
Yeah. And how have you, you know, as time has changed, and you know, music styles change, and let's say people, obviously, like, let's say, what was your starting off? What was your, you know, and is your main style and genre of music, and, you know, the types of clubs that you play at?
Generally, it's house music. So from deep house all the way to like funky electro, that sort of vibe. I've never been into the heavy trance or techno. I play tech house, but it's all the different types of house. So, and no matter what I play, you can hear a certain kind of bounce or vocal or something that people would recognize as a Lady Lea song. Even if it's more vocal or if there's no vocal, you just hear this kind of like bounciness. And I think that's how people see me. And, generally I can play anywhere, really. But I always focused on the more upfront clubs where you could experiment and play new music all the time that people didn't know. I really loved doing that. So, and since I was young in boarding school, I would find songs on radio and I would quickly record it, and it would bring me great satisfaction playing a new song for people who've never heard it and them loving it. That was like the best thing for me. So playing at commercial clubs where you play music that everyone knows and has, and you have to play it, I would always want to push the barrier a bit, like find a remix. They can still sing to the vocals, but here's a new version. So, but now I also do really sexy, soulful house. So I can play at bars and restaurants where people don't necessarily stand and dance. It's more like creating an atmosphere for, a couple having a romantic dinner or anything, So through the years, I've become quite versatile also because of my record store. I would sell different music to different types of people, and I would really enjoy all the different elements. So still, if I had to choose, I would still want to play at the more upfront clubs where I can push the boundaries and play new stuff.
Yeah. Well, obviously, my audience is pretty much people that not grew up, but let's say 17, 18, 19, going to Truth, going to, Toy, like those kind of places.
Yeah.
Where is your favorite place that you love going to and playing?
Truth is definitely one of them. Also, Origin in Durban is insane. That venue's just the best, and the sound system is just insane. And then you get the more like daytime rooftops type of places like Summit in Pretoria. It depends, but definitely the places I can play more new house music of different types, Altitude's also really nice. But hopefully we can be back there soon, man.
Is Truth closed?
It is.
Okay,
but it's
closed.
Still sort of a venue that can hold an event.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And how difficult, in closing, because I see we're just over 30 minutes, how difficult is it for you to play for a crowd? Obviously, it depends on your time slots and everything. Yeah. But you don't want to get to a place where everyone's like sober and everyone's standing there, still talking. Like how is it as a DJ? Obviously, maybe now you get the better time slots, but obviously initially starting out, you kind of got those terrible time slots. How is it difficult for you to have that energy because you see everyone else like, oh, these people are just sitting here doing nothing?
It's all about creating a mood. So when people walk in, they don't want it to be heavy. You want it to be light and friendly. And they're not drunk yet. They're still, nervous to go onto the dance floor. They're waiting for their friends. So it needs to be very light, and it can't be big hits, which normally they would be like fist pumping on the dance floor because they're not open yet. They still need to relax. So there are methods and rules in the industry, like what you should do on different time slots. So as soon as you know what you're trying to achieve at that beginning slot, you kind of don't put pressure on yourself to like, oh, I didn't have a full dance floor, because you understand where people are at. So stuff like that, people don't realize, young DJs don't realize how to handle those things. So that's something I would teach some of my mentee students of, what to do at different time slots. But at the beginning when you don't know it, you feel like no one liked your music. Yeah. But you have to know better.
And, obviously, you wish that you could play your, full-on set where people would be fist pumping because you want to show people what you can do.
Exactly.
You don't want to have to basically almost hold back.
You have to hold back.
And obviously it's etiquette because you're not allowed, the DJ there that's playing at 12 or whatever has more experience than you, so you have to,
Or maybe not more experienced. They're just the highlight.
Okay, yeah.
Of the night.
Yeah.
So yes, holding back is the key word to the first 2 sets, I would say. But it depends on the scenario.
Yeah.
If it's a private function and you've only got 4 hours, you don't have to really hold back that much. So it depends on where you are and who's in front of you.
Well, thank you so much for coming through. And obviously, when we spoke, you mentioned where people can get this, but I'm also going to tag it in the description below and everything, so people can get hold of you, hold of your sources.
You have to, and there's like no calories. It's literally like chopping up a chili on your food. It's per 15 gram has 6 calories.
I see there's absolute 0.0 grams of carbs, guys.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's literally just herbs and chilies.
And out of interest, how much does one of these go for?
$79.95. That's for one, but we've got 5 flavors, and you can get all 5 for $3.50.
Okay, nice.
And it'll last you a while. It depends on how much you like hot sauce. But with 5 bottles, you can at least alternate.
At least a month.
And you can cook with it as well, which is really cool. Then it doesn't come out so hot.
Yeah.
But it adds such an insane flavor. So there's Himalayan salts, which isn't as bad as normal salt. It's got more minerals and it doesn't retain as much water, and it's all natural. So my mouth's watering now just thinking about it. But have it and let me know what you think.
Well, when you leave, I'm actually going to have a meal. So
okay,
I'm definitely going to. I'm going to actually try this pineapple chili one. So thank you so much for coming through.
Pleasure.
And thank you so much for the sauces.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been awesome.
Of course. And guys, thank you for listening. Cheers.